All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my stream where I'll be looking at Hono.js. Let me just get everything here ready. Move things around. Just came straight from work. So also this will give us some time for everybody else to trickle in. And let's see. Close this, minimize that. Okay, so I'm streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and X. If you are so inclined or if you like what I'm doing and want to see more, please consider subscribing to me on any of those platforms so that you get notified about my newest streams and all that stuff. So let's do this. And we also do a quick shout out to my channels that I'll be working on this. All right. So we have that out. Let's check. So what's the new thing? How is everybody? Let me just so if you have any questions or comments, feel free to write in the chat. I'll be happy to take a look on it. So on, was it Friday or Saturday? Friday, I've looked at Express.js and how it ties in with Meteor 3, which will have that as the underlying server in that upgrade from Connect.js, which is kind of lightweight version, an older version of Express without all the bells and whistles. That sadly has not been getting the maintenance and love that it deserves. And today I'm looking at Hono, which has been by many lauded as kind of the best that's out there. Even the tutorial I was using had a disclaimer at the end that the person for new projects prefers to use Hono. So setting, okay, time to look at it, especially because I think this might be something that we might be, or if I like what I see today, I will lobby for it to be in Meteor 4 or 5 so that we get it. And from the first probably look, it will be in kind of similar to Express, I think, in a syntax. We'll have to see what's the difference there. It markets itself as ultra fast and lightweight, multi-runtime with batteries included and delightful developer experience. So let's jump to the docs. It's Japanese, so as you can see from my background, that's like another plus, at least in the name, and I do believe the maintainers are also, or at least the creators are Japanese. So we have Hono, which means for flame, not to be mistaken with fire. Let's see if I can. Let me get here a new text document. Let's try some Japanese kanji to kind of explain that. Then this is just for fun. So, oh man, how was fire again? So we have Hono. There we go. See, it's maybe probably a lot of meaning if I just go by Hono. So we have this Hono. Actually, we don't have to. We can just try depot. Make it straightforward, and we want to go English from Japanese. Hi, Hono. Or let's see, we have fire and flame. Very interesting. And I want to, yes. So flame are two fires on top of each other. Very interesting. Fun with kanji here and there. So that's what we have here. So Hono is like that. Small, simple, ultra fast. I think that's also key. But framework for the edges. So if it's adapted into Meteor, then Meteor, by the nature of that, should really gain potentially some additional capabilities. We can run it on Dino, Bun, all that stuff, and all the other things. So what am I going to do here? Just move all the necessary stuff aside. And see. So I think I'm going to go with Visual Studio to make it easier. Create a new folder here. Playground. Let's open that up. And see, you want a terminal. Do a init. Just to get the thing there. Private, so not that. So let's first things first, we can just go side by side. And let's make this smaller and appearance. Let's see, or do we have to make it bigger? Okay, here we go, zoom in. So let's start with that. We can probably make it, the documentation smaller. So npm create Hono Atlas. So I went a little bit ahead there. Let's see quickly over use cases, building web APIs, proxy of backend servers, front of CDN, edge amplification, base server for a library, full stack application. So that's what I'm most interested at this point with using Hono, ultra fast, lightweight, all those things. So, and there are some other things. Some motivation, routers. Let's see if we have here getting started. Let's go with the basics. Okay, so maybe instead of starting like that, what I'm going to do, I'd like to have the new folder here. Let's remove that, and we are in the folder. And so we can do here npm create Hono at latest. and we do tutorial. And which template do we want to use? So we have for all the templates here, which is really nice. We want Node.js because that's what I'm working with normally. Let's see what's going to happen here. So here we have tutorial. Yeah, src with package. It's also with TypeScript already. TSX already here. I'm going to change it for myself. So that, okay, it's all these nice stuff here. On the server, so I'm going to do tutorial in there. So if you have done that, or you have to do npmi before that. I just have to make sure we're on 20. Let's install that. And in this package, npm run dev. And let's jump here to localhost 3000. Low Hono. So we have the basics going. So let's take a look here at the code. So we have here serve from Hono Node server. So that's kind of the middleware or integration for the particular, should we say it, whatever it's using. So this could all be Hono, or sorry, Node. It could be Ban, or it could be whatever else. Kind of like this multifunctionality, though that can also be a drawback. Then we have the actual application Hono, same as with Express, which you just insert as constant Hono. And then you have here that on a root, you will return the text. It's get. Let me try quickly if you have here app dot. Okay, so it has like API as Express in this aspect. Here it is the port, and here it serves. So it might have been probably better here if there is, and I'll experiment with that later on. If there is some sort of kind of like callback or something where to run this. So that will be one thing I want to do, to actually log this out only after the server is running. So you can write, let's see what they write here. You can write code in TypeScript, Cloudflare workers, developer, blah, blah, blah. Lighter first in this, the import and the final export default parts might vary from runtime to runtime. All the applications code will run the same code everywhere. So it's easy to migrate between different runtimes. So normally, unless defined, in this case, you have 3000, it's 8787. So let's try to return here. Try to see the JSON. Let's do OK true. Message hello universe. No, we get nice JSON. So that's what I want to see here now is the request and response, getting a path parameter require value, da da da. Sorry, this follows. So if we get app, gets, looks at the query. Okay, so that's a query. Then we have the params. So that's very similar as in Express. And So this is interesting. This is I'll look more into the API docs, but in Express, we have, you have the request, you have the response, and you have, next, if it's middleware, all that stuff. Here, everything is in like this C or one variable. And if it's like, in this case, c.request, you can see the request. Let's actually do this. Go there, c.request to see what's in there. Oops. Okay. So we have some route index, body cache, raw, path. Okay, so this is the request. And here we have, okay, so it looks like it's already doing some processing already of what we get. So let's see if we can, let's put this things here. So we can investigate. So posts. Test. Want to see undefined of tests. So we have the page here. So if I do here, then page equals 1. So you want to see one of tests. So that's let's keep it that way. You don't have to do anything special. So the X message, which is hi. I'll check into that later. So let's check what happens if we have all that stuff included. We have some cache here. That's interesting. So we have those are functions, and they're not applied here. Let's take a look. Okay, query and param, and then you go for that. Okay, so you have to get specific. This is interesting. I like this maybe a little bit more in Express, because you can do the request.params and it returns an object. So that which might be sometimes, I wouldn't say better, but it might be for some use cases more approachable than you having to, like especially if you have a lot of parameters and sort of distractioning them. Here we have to write it out for all of them. Let's see if I do let ID 2. What happens if I have ID 2? Oh, it just gets undefined. So those are the functions, which we'll probably get more to know later on. We have the post, put, delete, not only get, so we have post, delete, so that's the same. And we can actually also return, I see here, like the code as well. We do text. And here we can also return HTML. That's huge. That makes it much more, should I say it, more interesting in terms of compared to Express, where you would probably have to do some sort of middleware or do more advanced stuff. Here you can just do much almost like a React-like return. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be some middleware that can easily return like SSR, React. I do recall seeing that. So Enjoying a little bit of my tea here. And you can even use the, like I say, the standards to do new fonts and work with that. That goes to MDN. So what else do we have here? Using middlewares, yes, or middleware. So we can import basic out. And if it goes to app.use, so that's same as in Express, then you define this product. I'm not sure how this works. Oh yeah, there is some option to do that as well in Express, but maybe not so. I think after all, I have regular expressions more than these, so like this, I think this is more approachable. And can do basic out. Can try that probably a little bit later. And if it's this, so basic out, I think that's going to just display stuff. So let's put it in here and have some fun as well before we get more into it. And we need to build a server. API save. Oh no. Basic out. Let's import this. That was the issue here. Hono basic out. What's the npm I save this? Let's try again. That's strange. Let's try to add it manually. Oh, wait, could it be? This might be a bug in their documentation, I'm thinking, because it might be instead of it should be add Hono. No? Let's go to npm and take a look. Oh, sorry, no, I'm wrong. This is actually already included. Just reading it wrong. Yeah, it's already in Hono itself. I think if I went here and did, okay, but I have to have this little thing here. So from the development again, and let's go to admin. So this is basic out. Wrong, so that's wrong. So what happens if I cancel unauthorized? And let's do this again. If I do admin secret, anniversary authorized. Let's try that again. It's fine. Oh, it automatically also does the for page, which it keeps me. It uses the basic out that's in the browser, I think. Keep track on stuff, so that's pretty neat. And of course, we have all the other that which we'll take a look later. Adapters for platform-dependent functions. So we can. That's how we kind of do the serve here for our Node.js, and in other places also have like some special things like static for AWS or Cloudflare in this case. So we have the Cloudflare workers. I'm not interested. It's Here it's just making things so serve static. So I think that's something specific to that. Let's see. Dino ban we'll have to skip, and let's go to Node.js and see what we have here. So first of all, it's for 18 plus, so that's not something that even if we wanted to, we could integrate into the Meteor 2.x branch, but it is possibility for Meteor 3 and onward because that's on the latest Node 20. So we did that. We did the hello Node.js stuff. In this case, we just did so similar. And we can do the port, all that stuff. So let's make this easier. Serve static, you can serve static to serve static files from local file system. Okay, that's pretty nice. Let me do public just for now. Okay, let's try this. I'm kind of curious here. We can do the public folder similarly to how we have it in Meteor. Port is not defined. Okay, one port. Let's just do 3000 here. And into the public, let's do people.txt. Do it like that. If you are wondering what that is about, I'm sure of that project, if that's still alive. No, oh, it's not people, it's humans. So that one is kind of to be more extensive. Extensive author author list. So that you can list more of people in the project and give them credit. I kind of like this because it makes it more human. So we have that, and now my test would be if I can actually go to localhost 3000 humans.txt and get it. Oh, perfect. So I'm guessing this is going to work for anything. That's pretty neat. Makes things nice and simple. Rewrite request path, static to static. You can use rewrite request path. Statics. Okay, so that's okay. So we can then you kind of move things a bit more. Not really sure. Only unless like you move the folder or you move the URL link and stuff like that. So also HTTP2 server. Node to HTTP. Let's see if we can add that in create server. We have okay, so we have app.fetch, and then we have create server. Curious if so why is that not working on my HTTP2? Create secure server options. So I'll have to figure out or learn more about HTTP2, because I do recall reading that it was supposed to be, or it's primarily for Internet of Things. So that would explain why it's not happy with what we have here. Store this, yes, are happy here. So then we have Supabase. Okay, so let's take a look on more in depth. Hono is the primary object. It will be imported first and used until the end. So for Cloudflare workers or Bun, it's being exported. Interesting. So instance Hono has been following methods, all. Okay, that's similar to use in Express on. Okay, so we have use all. Route base path not found on error. Mount fire fetch request. The first part of them is used for routing. Please refer to the routing section. We'll get it there. So I like that you can, of course, do the customize your 404 page, either with text or in this case, I want to try app.not found. That's the same. This is the context. We have here return c dot. You probably set the headers and all that stuff separately, but I want to try. I return HTML string. So I will have HTML, and then we have for code to return. Let's see, so it should be string. Give it a try. There we are going to do title found. Then we do, of course, the body. And the H1 found in this. So let's do some random thing, not found in this universe. It's very nice. It's working. So app on error, that's also very nice. If there's like some sort of error, you get the error message, all that stuff. So, okay. And then here we have fire. Automatically adds a global fetch event listener. Man, I have a lot more to learn than I thought. This can be useful for environments that adhere to the service worker API. So that's non-ES module Cloudflare workers executes the following for you. So, okay, fire. Let's quickly check. Okay. No, because installer events could take a while to complete. This service worker still provided wait until method once it's called install or activate from its functional events such as fetch and push will wait. Yeah, so this is primarily for a service worker, and I will have kind of curious about this one. But let's quickly check here on fetch. Will be entry point of your application, and then you can do this. Request environment context. So I think that does not apply to Node. We have app.fetch here because we have the fetch here like that. So app.fetch, oh, strange. So we already have that. So okay, so that's the actual main server. Nothing special there. So request is a useful method for testing. Love it. They have it already prepared for testing. You can pass URL or path name to send a GET request. App will return a response object. Test GET is okay. Expects to be. This is cool. This is really cool. I like this. Interesting that it has to be, so pretty much you have to import the app as well. So this seems to be some sort of kind of tests to make everything server side, and so that you don't have to necessarily do end-to-end tests. Or no, well, not do end-to-end tests, but it makes it. This is I would say primarily to test REST APIs, or whenever you have like JSON or XML returns. That's really cool. Mm-hmm. That is really cool. And test async wait update request. Oh, nice. I like that. The mount allows you to mount application built with other frameworks in your Hono application. Interesting. So we have some IT router. What is IT router? Just out of curiosity. Wrong. Okay. It is arguably the smallest feature-rich JavaScript router available while enabling that simple API code. Unless you have like building of like legacy and migrating, I don't really see simple handle middle flower. Why would you go for that? Because we already have that stuff in Hono, and I would say in other places. So yeah, I think unless you're migrating, this doesn't make too much sense to me. And yeah, or it's like maybe like if you have like some specific other application or like something that's running somewhere else. But this is pretty good, I would say, for if you're like migrating stuff. But I'm kind of surprised on that. Strict mode defaults to true, and this distinguishes the following routes. So hello versus hello slash will not match. Setting strict mode to false, both paths will be treated equally. Ooh. I would say for me normally, so that's function here in Hono beginning. So we are learning about this. Normally I would probably set it to false. I would have then have to make some other things, but because sometimes people do it, sometimes don't. Okay, router option. The router option specifies which router to use. The default router is smart router if you want to use regular expression router pass in the new Hono instance. So yeah, this might probably be where the mount thing comes in, that if you don't want to use the default router, you can put in some other one. But I think for majority of stuff, you can just do the smart router. It's kind of the standard. So just two ways to do the same thing, potentially. Generics. You can pass generic to specify the types of Cloudflare worker bindings and variables. So that's there. Don't really care. So let's go to the usual routing. Get, post, put, delete. That's nice. We have then we can use wildcards. Nice. Any HTTP method. So that's all. Custom HTTP methods. Okay, so we have and we can also use multiple like that. Put, delete, purge. Update would be probably one that I would also consider having. We have app dot. Now we don't have update. So okay, that's very flexible like that. We already covered the parameters. And here we go. Okay, so this is answer to my question previously, that you can actually, if you just build this without anything, then it's going to return to you the JSON as a function. So it's more like a function. And then we have optional parameters. Ooh, nice. That's very nice. Optional parameters. And you can also use reject in the routes as well, including slashes. Sure. Then we have chaining routes, get endpoint. On the endpoint, you can also do post and delete function. That's nice. Let's see grouping. We have the get, list books, then we have ID, get, get book ID, book.post. Okay, so this is the same thing as in Express, and similar to nesting in React Router, that you pretty much just create like a new Hono there, which we could just call book. You define the routes, and then you do like the main app, and then you do app route, and then you do the book, and you pass in these routes, or the book, and that will then, if you do /book, it will then go to this first one, which will return list books. Very nice. So what else do we have here? Can specify the base path. Okay, so yeah, you can then have there are like probably two ways to do similar thing. Book, or add some stuff. Okay, so it's not a bad thing. Routing with host name, and this is probably where we are getting more. Do one example. That's path. Okay, this could be used as, so you can pretty much maybe split things up, like based on, different sub. Could it be with a different? I have to. Let me try this. I'm actually quite curious about this. At path. Oh wait, is it in? Yeah, it should be in there. Okay. Oh. Well, oh, it's example. Overall replace HTTP. Let's try to do localhost 3000 here, if that works. Might be getting more into low, and let's do WW1. Not found in this universe, but at least it's getting um low WW1, WW2. Not exactly sure how this is supposed to work, or maybe it might be just because of the localhost setting. Host header values, so that's another option how to do it. So routing priority, that's important. Handlers or middleware will be executed in registration order. Okay. That's good. When handler is executed, the process will be stopped. Okay, first comes, first serve. If you have middleware that you want to execute, write the code above the handler. So if I do app.use, here I'll do the star, which is for all. Then I do log c dot c request dot. Yeah, let's do this. So we have here app.use on all pages. Why are you not happy? Context is not finalized, return response or object or await next. Now, next is something I know from Express. So I would kind of like to see the wait. And next is here. So then I like async. context, and we have text. Well. Let's see. Returning it. I'm not exactly sure why it's complaining here. A nicing function that requires promise constructor. Make sure you have declaration for the promise constructor or include ES 2015 in your lib option. Okay, so it's just it does not like that. I don't have that set up. So, okay, so that's not important. Let's see. So let's go to the post to see how it actually works. Test. Okay, that's me just getting here like that. Test of undefined. Did I request there? Let's see, request param. Is it params? No. So, but I should then get. If I remember correctly from what we read there, we should be getting the list of parameters, but I am not getting anything. So if I just do ID. Oh, I see why I'm not getting it. That's because I'm defining here for all, and so it doesn't know what are the parameters coming in. But if I do query, so and let's add here /ID equals test. Oops. Enter, and I get it. ID test. So that's pretty neat. Let's see, grouping order. That the mistake of grouping routing is hard to notice. The route function takes the stored routing from the second argument, such as 3 or 2, and adds it to its own to or app routing. 3.get, 2.route, app.route, However, they are in the wrong order, it's version 404. Hi there, 3, 2. Two, yeah, because first you go to 2, which then has the 3, and then you get in 3 you get high. Yeah, that's it really depends, or that's kind of like everywhere. Let's see, context. To handle request and response, you can use context object. So we have request instead of on a request. Shortcut for the response. We have, of course, the header, status, and then the body. We can, of course, do the response and all that stuff that we saw there. So we have here, we have the text, which will set it to go. All that stuff. We have JSON. We have HTML. Then we have not found, redirect. We can do seeded redirect. Okay, that's nice. Gonna do 302 or 301 for permanent. Response headers that append, so you treat it as a normal HTML response, set and get. Set the value specific by the keyword the set and use it later with get. Okay, so this one you can send from one middleware to the other, or to the route some details like user ID or stuff like that. Pass the variables as generics to the constructor of Hono to make it type safe. Nice. Okay. You can also access the value of a variable with c.var. So let's see an example. New Hono, echo middleware, do variables. Is it the same? Okay, do the same thing here. And and it's going to propagate up. Okay, not bad. Or down, actually, in this case. Because that's setting like the echo middleware. So whenever they're in there, c.var echo hello. So it's a function and can probably other things as well. Now, this is going to be interesting. You can set layout using c.set renderer within a custom middleware. So app use async c next c.set renderer, then you do the content of that, and then in the next one you do c.render and whatever is there, and you do the handlebars. Nice. Yes, now that's pretty nice. You can, in a way, go back to the old days with just this. You don't even have, so you don't have to have like any front-end library if you can handle everything here, especially if you want just a static server. And this is pretty straightforward and low. So that's I like that. Kind of curious once we get to the React and other libraries how that is handled here as well. So additionally, this feature offers the flexibility to customize arguments to ensure type safety. Types can be defined as, okay, so we put that in there. Declare module, context render. Really like how they have also all the TypeScript stuff covered. So pages, we have this specific renderer, title, content hat. Okay, let's see. Then if you render it, you have the content, and then you can put additional parameters in there. Nice. Executions context. Not much describe here, maybe in the API later on. They have event. Fetch event object only set when using service worker. So I think these two are, if you actually know what you need, you can get the environment for Cloudflare workers and so on. Error. If c.error, the handler throws an error, the error object is placed in c.error. You can access in your middleware. Good. Context variable map. If you wish to add type definition to variable, aspect what it's used. So this is TypeScript stuff. Sounds good. We're seeing here that actually the server is being called even though I'm not on the web page. So I think this might be one of the extensions in there, especially if we see here the T. So it's like a time where it might be Brave doing something there. That's not nice. Why is that happening? I don't like that. In handler, the variable is inferred as the prototype type. Okay, so that's just typing. So then we have the request, kind of covered. We have the param, query, queries. Multiple query string parameter values. Okay, so that's if we have tags. Oh, I've never seen that, or like not maybe never, but it's. What happens if I put it here with mine? If I have just one tag, then it returns the first one on the query. Quickly do queries. And in that case, it puts them into a string. Oh, sorry, not array, not string. Okay, so that's an interesting function. Then we have the header where we can get user agent, all that stuff. Parse request body of form data and zero encoded. So it supports the following behavior: string, file, multiple files. So the postfix is required. Multiple files with the same name. All okay. We have request.json, text, array buffered, valid, get the validated data. Rule targets are below. Form JSON query. And we'll cover that more in validation settings. So this will be probably similar to the express validation options as well. We can get the route path. If you access post 1, 2, 3, it will return posts. Okay, and I'm guessing that will get also the path URL and what we have here, match routes. If returns match routes within the handler, which is useful for debugging, yes. So it will kind of show based on what we put in here that, and visit that will show us what we have there. Oh, actually, I like here that we have the then await next, and then we can still do stuff. Don't recall now if in Express we have to return next. But it might be probably possible to do the same thing. All right, request path name, yeah, URL, we covered that. Method name of the request. So, okay, so let's get post. You can get the raw request. Exception. Exception must be thrown. Oh no, exception, HB exception. Okay, that's pretty cool. Status, authenticate, error, invalid token. So we can add the response there as well. And then you error instead of HB exception. Okay, let's get into more of the fun thing. So we have the presets. We had here the routers. We can actually have both of them, and that's nice. Or new smart router, routers, quick. Okay, so these are predefined, and here we see how the routers are kind of set. In here, we have tiny. And what it's doable for is later going through most cases. Although the registration phase might be slower than Hono Quick, it exhibits high performance once booted. It's ideal for long-lived server built in Dino, Bun, or Node.js, for environments such as Cloudflare, where V8 isolates utilize this present is suitable too because it isolates process for a certain amount of time after booting. So okay, so that's pretty nice that you can actually select routing based on if you need a quick boot or if you can boot it and then it's quicker later. Honestly, this is impressive. Very, very impressed with that. Will explain why it's also so fast. So kind of already tried the middleware. And with that, we can add, yeah, we have already done that. And it's very nice, straightforward. I like how you can also apply middlewares to specific paths, which is something that kind of curious if you can or how you would then combine it in Meteor. I think this will necessitate or this would highly encourage for Meteor to establish its own routers, so this you can take full advantage or kind of or expose the Hono router and all this stuff more better. And or in some ways we can add these middlewares to specific paths before it starts doing the client rendering. It's response used for the front end and stopping the processing. Okay. So you can kind of go through all of that stuff. I have to see how that's handled with the we have secure headers or whatever it's called package, not secure headers. I'm blanking now, but kind of that kind of does the cores and all that stuff. So we check how it's done there, and that would be kind of similar. But given that it's single page application and it doesn't have a router by default, or unless you put in, and that's usually client side router for the most part, then this would be how implementing that would be really nice. Execution order. Yes, that's so pretty much first come first serve. Built-in middleware as built-in middleware. We've already saw the basic out. We have the powered by here. It's like some examples. Kind of already experimented with the custom log, in this case, logging middleware right here. Text message. And then we have the third party. So we'll check that list later on. We have, say, helpers, which is available to assist in developing your application. Unlike middleware, they do not act as handlers, okay, but rather provide useful functionality. So you have cookie. Okay, so you can request it right there, just pass in the context. And we'll get the cookie, set cookies. Have cookies, CSS. Let's take a look. So adapters first. Adapter Hopper provides a seamless way to interact with various platforms through a unified interface. Okay, so that's the environment. Runtime keys. Okay, so that's getting into environmental stuff. So cookie, we already saw that. CSS. The CSS helper is Hono in CSS in JSX. Okay, you can write CSS in in a JavaScript template literal name CSS. The default values will be the class name, which is set to the value of the class attribute. The style component will then contain the value of the CSS. Okay, so it's like styled components. Header class. Wow. Okay, this is super impressive. At this point, you can really go full in Hono and really discard a lot of other libraries. Especially like if you have if everything is statically rendered on the server. Wow, that's well, keyframes. It's like they copied like styled components here. Then you styled components and some other things, so you can add. You can mix things up. Wow. It seems a little bit, given how I'm used to develop things, a little bit out of place here. But just, wow, developer provides this model you can use in development. So, show routes. Okay, so that's for debugging. What's factory? Factory helper. Create factory. Instance of factory class. Let's see. It's similar. Sometimes it's difficult to set proper TypeScript type, but this helper facilitates that. Okay. So this one helps especially with types. Create middleware, it adds some other things. Given that this is just let's try this one specifically out. Import create middleware from factory. And then I'll have a logger here, which is going to be create middleware, which then is going to be this thing. This doesn't like it, but I can then do logger. Okay, so I don't need even to put in here. So let's see why. Okay, this is just. Let's see if that worked. Yes, that worked perfectly. And if I had more, especially I think this for types, this is really nice. And so you create factory. Wait, did I not need to? Okay, that's fine. Create factory is great handlers. Okay, so this one you actually need to first create factory, then you do the. Why don't I then need to do the in middleware? I can just go create middleware. No, not really sure. Let's go to the HTML helper. We try that c.html. And the HTML parallel lets you write HTML in JavaScript template editor with the tag name HTML using raw. The content will be rendered as is. You have to escape these strings by yourself. Insert snippet into JSX. Okay, so in this case, if we just use .c.html, it does the escaping, but if you use the HTML string literal, it does not escape characters. So pretty nice. And so we can pretty much do the JSX stuff here. Act as a functional component. Okay, so we can pretty much build use HTML to speed up the process instead of memo. Okay, this is pretty sick. Receives props and embeds values. So they pretty much recreated React here, or like server-side React. And you can do it. Then we have the, let's see. We did the, let's go back here. Let's finish the helpers, and then we can go back there. So this provides for encoding, decoding, signing, and refreshing JSON web tokens. And that's in the basic package, just like verify, decode. But it's kind of unless you actually import it, it will not be loaded. So it's also making things faster. Streaming, the streaming helper provides method for streaming responses. Is this the sockets potentially? Testing. Helper provides function to make testing Hono easier. So you can use it nicely for testing. You don't have to do the stuff. We already saw the basic authentication middleware in action, and here are okay. So that's the basic stuff. Then we have the bearer authentication middleware. Let's see. The cache middleware is a web standards cache API. I'm so behind knowing about these things. Okay, so but it's just for request and response objects. Currently supports Cloudflare worker projects using custom domains and Dino projects using Dino 1.26, but doesn't support Lagos. It's not currently supported by Dino deploy. The cache variables, which is part of the cache API, might not be available in the Dino deployment environment. Okay, so specific for Dino and other things. Doesn't look like it has been implemented in Node, which is pity. So it's saved. Yes. Options. So that would be nice. So yeah, that looks like it's even for those ones even faster. Compress. So that compresses the response body according to accept encoding request header. So it will be compressed automatically. Bun uses compression stream, which is not yet supported in Bun. So Bun does not support it, but we can immediately add it here, and this would be something that I would anywhere. I'm kind of wondering if maybe I could do an array. Just a wild thing, probably not. It is. I think this will be then a benefit of, or maybe that's, I do, if I remember correctly, then Express has this, the ability to kind of do an array with all the stuff though. So that's gonna benefit. Okay, course. Now we have security. With all the different basic things, multiple origins, all that stuff. Does it say what are the defaults? It doesn't says, but I think this is kind of, that should probably be added by default unless you have some really specific reason why not do so. That should be kind of basic, decompress and course should be basic in your application. And you can really extend it. I like that. This is nice. CRSS. Again, other security things to add. And boom. So this malware protects and CSRF attacks, such as submitting with a form element by comparing the value of the originator with the request URL. So it's mostly for submitting forms, but kind of should be everywhere. You can add e-tag headers. Okay, so we are middlewares versus helpers now. So we are, yes, in middlewares since base authentication token e-tag. We can add e-tag headers easily. E-tag would be nice too if they had some explanation what are e-tags. I don't recall. Our entity tag response headers is identifier for a specific version of a resource. It lets caches be more efficient and save bandwidth, as a web server does not need to resend a full response if the content was not changed. Additionally, it helps to prevent simultaneous updates of resources from overwriting each other, so Meteor collision. Oh, I'm not even sure if Express has e-tags. Let's see what it says here. How does e-tag work in Express? So it's another way of cache things. And it doesn't really tell me if Express. In Express, it can start with weak default, blah, blah, blah. So you need to pretty much implement it yourself in Express. So here you can just do e-tag. So JSX handler, this is, or middleware, is what I wanted to see. JSX render middleware allows you to set up the layout when running JSX with the render function. Okay, so we kind of covered that already. JSX render, but this one is even more without the need for using C set render. Okay, so this is middleware without the need for helpers, enables access to instances of context within component through the use of use request context. JSX render. doc type true. Okay, so it will even add the, if you want to add doc type at the beginning of HTML, set the doc type option to true. You can specify the doc type stream. If you set it to true or provide record value, it will be rendered as a streaming response. True is set, the following headers are added. Okay, the user requested context. You're accessing request root batch. Okay, wow. So, and here we have JSON Web Token authentication middleware. So you have all for that. Timing, Storyteller provides performance metrics if response headers. So that's for metrics, really nice. Logger. Yeah, we pretty much have our own logger here for right now. So that's nice, pretty JSON. Good. So you can add the pretty there, and it will return pretty. Good for APIs, secure headers. Simplified type of security headers inspired by part capabilities of Helmet. So that's the CORS in an easier way, and there will be probably some specifics that will make it a bit easier. And here you have the supported options, the default. So let's just put those in there as well, because at the end of the day, this is about security is quite important there. Middleware conflict. Yes, so if you use powered by, then in this case, here operates and the expowered by is removed. Oh, that's interesting. This is actually a way that I would expect it, and the later one would override the previous one. Setting content security policy. Oh yeah, you can see how I have it literally universe. It's pretty wild. And then we have other things. We have the official, we have GraphQL server. I do believe there might be. So that's simple one. Oh no, GraphQL server. Okay, so that's who's there. Oh, so this could, in a sense, also replace Apollo if it came to it. But I think Apollo also has something for, oh no, Sentry, Firebase, Zod validator. So that's for the validation part. The RCP server, typebox validator, Swagger UI. So that's if you're creating just pure API. This is, I am seriously considering, because you have to create API server for the Literary Universe. I'm considering just creating a one with Hono and dealing with it there, and then just add a Swagger or something. Much to consider. Much to consider. Okay, I'm going to take a quick bathroom break, and then we'll check back on JSX, because I think, yeah, so yeah, this is for server-side rendering, so that this is going to be huge potentially. All right, quick bathroom break. I will be back in a minute or two, so time to get some water and all that stuff. All right, I am back. Let's get back to the show. Let's actually, since now we are dealing more here in the theoretical, because I'm not going to try to build a JSX server. That would be a little bit beyond what I have in mind. So with Hono, you can utilize JSX syntax to write HTML, as we have seen, which really impressed me. The Hono.js is bundled with Hono and is strictly for server-side rendering, not for client-side. Yes, obviously. So it's static stuff. You will have to kind of add the JavaScript there out manually. Utilize JSX, modify the tsconfig JSON, JSX import source. Alternative, use the pragma directive. And for Dino, you do something else there. Okay, usage. Props. So it's like a little bit like old C Hono.jsx. This is pretty insane. I have to say that they pretty much done a simplified version of React for themselves to just generate the static stuff. And messages. You can do fragments here. Or this if you set it up. You can also insert all the HTML or memoization. Got hooks here, okay. Instead of use memo, it's just memo. Optimize your components by minimizing competed strings. Okay, contexts, create context, use context, team context, async components. So in this case, that would be, for example, when I am, if I'm with c.html, it will update automatically. Oh, I don't have to even have async function here. Amazing suspense. The real life suspense features available. If you wrap the async component with suspense, the content in the fallback will be rendered first. And once the promise is resolved, the awaited content will be displayed. You can use it with render to readable stream. Damn. You have error boundaries, integrating with HTML middleware, combine the JS extension middleware and for powerful templating. Yes, wow. Precompile. That's for Dino. Override type definitions. Wow, this is impressive. Then we have testing. I think we've already kind of went over that. We have the validator. So you add the post, you do the validator, and then you can validate stuff. And you can go multiple, validate params, query, JSON, with Zod, and I'm sure there will be some other RCP client. So RCP, let me double check which one that one is. Remote procedure call. Whereas causes procedure. Is it a different address space? So as if we're a normal local procedure call without the Okay. Route post. This feature allows sharing the API specification between the server and the client. You can export the types of input type specific byte and output type emitted by JSON and Hono client will be able to import it. There's Hono client, SU server, and then you have Hono client app type. Wow, you can even do those. So we have here app.post. So you on the server, then you can do client posts. So you can do like a method. Wow, this is getting more. I'm not sure if insane or better is the correct word, because just what it can do. So you have pretty much built in, or at least the right part of or rest stuff. So you can do pretty much client post, which we have here route post. So that's like the URL, client path method. And you can immediately get a response as well. And you can use also get. So you can pretty much build a REST API in there immediately. This is sick. Get your object for accessing the endpoint by using that. Post your law. Okay, so you can then get the correct link. That's probably as if you get like a response, or if you post something and then you want to redirect to the new address, and then you want to be super safe on it, can do it. Or if you want to avoid, if you change the URL on the server, so this one should kind of prevent that. Custom fetch, infer, that's for types, SVR. Can use also React hook libraries such as SVR. That is something from Vercel. So okay, React for data fetching. Wow. That was wow. So we have some best practices here. Don't do controllers. So factory create handlers. This might be actually relevant to us if you still want to create Ruby on Rails like controllers. So I have no very little Ruby on Rails experience, so I don't think I've ever went that far. So that's not relevant to me. Building a larger application, use app.route to build large application without creating Ruby on Rails controllers. So it's more like what I'm used to, like from React Router and stuff like that. Then import them and them, yeah, so that's there. So yeah, that's kind of goes here to web API. We have, of course, basic out, ready JSON. Then we have the different models, put that in and go bananas. We have something for proxies here. Refer JSX. Server-side rendering application using JSX and HTML middleware. It's for Cloudflare workers, but you can write the code for Dino and Bun in the same way. What I would like to try to do is let's go to miscellaneous, contribution, sponsoring, and then we are at helpers. So go to the examples and see if we can get. We have Bun, block, basic, JSX, SSR. SRC. App.get post. Oh, here's a nice example of regex being included in there. That's I'm not sure what happened there. Cool, but let's see, get post controller, HTML top posts, and have here the layout. So yeah, they are pretty much building the page. Props. If I go to tsconfig, they have React JSX here, but yeah, and they are importing web from Hono.js. I'm going to quickly change here the compiler option, so hopefully that kills my errors here. No, it just complains even more. But on different things, not even on my logger. Did not like that. It's a shame. That's something to figure out later on. I am kind of curious if we have Hono.js with React. That's going to be tough to find. Maybe I will have to really get more into it, but it's going to be a bit more annoying because you have, of course, they use the same language stuff like React in there. So, what about try React with us? Here we have like a with Cloudflare, which is not necessarily what I want. So, but the thing is with Hono, it's really going to be okay, entry client, import, blah, 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 function client, React strict mode application, React DOM, hydrate root. Client like this. Document. So an entry server, React DOM server, render to readable stream application. What app at app or at app. We have the Bootstrap module assets main.js. Okay, it's also using Vite. App.tsx. So this is the app. But it probably has something that at app is kind of the is RC stuff. So it's for default application. Globals here. Utils, hooks, components. Okay, we have all of that. And okay, we have server over here. So this is where we add the Hono stuff. It's on Cloudflare, so there's a lot of other. This is our render at entry. So .get cache data. So it's API. Here we have the assets. Get all new response. And then there's the SSR render. Oh, he is also chaining it here, which is interesting. He has not found. It's organized as a JSON. Okay. Curious, maybe because that's how it's set up there, so it can then work on that. So that's definitely possible. And yeah, this is now. Let me. If there are any sponsors listening, feel free to join me now if you want to chat over this. Okay, we don't have anybody here. So now it's time for speculations, I would say. Yeah, because I have to say I am very impressed with Hono, what it can do. Especially like given all the stuff, features. I can imagine once I start putting in all the React stuff, it's not going to be as fast as if it's like just pure API, which returns JSON, which makes sense. But it does everything that Express does and a lot more. And I'm just like, wow, this is truly impressive. I'm especially impressed with the JSX that they have added. And I'm sure there might be some middleware or something to make the SSR more easier for and connected with like just a regular Express, or sorry, not an Express, React uh, on the client. So just quickly looking here in the background if they have an open issue for Apollo server, which is a must for me. Let me start. Let me close this and subscribe to how it's going to develop here. Tested edge running Apollo integration for Cloudflare workers recently. It's like so let me that one is right now. They have it for, of course, for Apollo is for Express, so there's no problem there. But let me think now. Meteor 3, of course, is Express. The thing is that Hono has quite a different API. Not that much different, but it's different enough that you cannot have, or backward compatibility is not possible. It's just too much different. So it will definitely be a major version upgrade if we decide to do that. Pretty much having the option there for, as we saw, pretty much for like a very easy REST application, all the other stuff, it adds a new dimension to Meteor, like more of a static option. If you really then stripped out Meteor from other thing, you could really also do a nice, should we call it? Really speeding out, like, you rip off, for example, default React or Blaze, you can just add the basic HTML templates there, and just, I kind of want to look at, let's see quickly here if we have back in here. Let's see. I want kind of with motivations create a web application on Cloudflare workers, but there was no good framework. There was no, so I started building Hono. So I think that plays a significant role there, that it was originally based on Cloudflare workers and all these other, edge, say, services. So it would be good to learn how to build router using 3 and figure out the ultra crazy fast protocol rejects X router. And also had a friend who created the basic authentication middleware. Thanks to using only web standard APIs, you could make it work on Dino and Bun. No Express for Bun. Yeah, we could answer no. There is Hono. No Express works on Bun now. We also have friends who make GraphQL servers, Firebase authentication, sender address, also Node.js after an ecosystem has been created. In other words, Hono is damn fast, makes a lot of things possible, and works anywhere. You can look that Hono will become standard for web standards. Yeah, so what I've seen is very, very impressive in that aspect. But what I am kind of curious, let's see, do we have some research here? Yes. Big thing. Whoops, not working. Okay. Sockets. Let's do Hono.js because that's kind of the big thing for. Let's implement WebSockets feature in Hono.js. Version of Hono on Dino. Support Cloudflare workers, blah, blah, blah. So it does that. I think for me, the big part, what I would like to see with Hono would be WebSocket, some sort of like really nice integration. In their case, it may not be possible because of all the different things that they support to have something, but it would be nice maybe to have like a quick guide because WebSocket is very central to Meteor. So I'll have to check how Meteor integrates it with Express and all that stuff. But so it might not even be necessary, but it would be nice if there would be something from Hono for WebSockets that could maybe make it faster than what we currently use. Or maybe it asks, I'm pretty sure also I saw some article with that benchmarks with WebSockets and Hono as well. So yeah, let's again, so many thoughts to add here and to talk about. Write in the chat what do you think about Hono from what we kind of saw here as well. I think given the major change, that stuff, we would have to kind of see what we want to do with it. But if we put this, say Meteor 4, Meteor 5 as a replacement for Express, what this would mean that first of all, we would have to make sure that we have all the necessary front ends that we have right now in Meteor integrated properly. So if we go here, so we would have to have React, Vue, Svelte, Blaze. Though this question if Blaze would be available at that time or if we had like a migration to Vue. Definitely Byte. So we have our Vite. We would have to have a middleware for Apollo GraphQL. TypeScript is kind of already somewhere in there. Tailwind CSS, Chakra, that's kind of outside, though I think Tailwind CSS is doing some magic to stuff like that. So all of these things would have to be ensured that they are integrated. React Native, specifically, and Cordova. let's see. So that would be kind of the first thing, to integrate the existing stuff. Then the benefit would be that we really don't need any front end, or like because we do have where are the just I want the command line create. We don't no longer have, but we do have the minimal, which then would be really doesn't have like any specific front end, so it would allow for just use Hono. That's one thing that would make things easier. It would then, especially for React, really there should be like SSR, let's say, starter with everything. It would have to then have you would have to probably update everything so it serves the necessary front end, as I discussed before. But the benefit of being able like then also to just go and serve the static content based on a Hono JSX, I think is also powerful. It would then make it powerful for serving APIs as well. Big thing is right now you can use GraphQL and all that stuff. But there is also, as we saw in Hono, like the REST architecture, you can get data through the API. You can post. You can post through forms. So that was also pretty powerful. And if you add that to the mix to all the other things that we have, in theory, well, that is if you have question is how I'm thinking right now about how the methods are going to develop. So they could potentially become like a path. So but in a way, right now you have it's a little bit more closed. So more, in a way, a little bit more security there, instead if you just had it like Hono, pretty much like any API available there, but still that would be like another option. So it would add, this the get and the post options that we saw in Hono. Where was that? Was it middleware or? Yes, here, RCP, or the client. So this thing being added there would be like another option to become even more performant for when you don't need to have subscriptions. You have the post, you have also the get. The big thing then would be to integrate it with validators, all that stuff. Yeah, I think this like app.get, and then the address could be like really powerful addition replace. If you don't want to have subscriptions, it would also be more performant than using methods to retrieve data. Potentially also more performant than using GraphQL. which is how I'm using it if I don't need live data. So performance-wise, that would be adding more options. The big thing would be getting into making or would be backward compatibility with all of it. The problem is since you have like the get here, or in this case post as well, which requires to be at a specific, you have to have like the URLs opened via like API. So that's one thing. Yeah, that would be like completely a new level. It would at least require that we upgrade the methods and start using maybe Zod validator, or maybe then have like some package that would allow, or maybe like integrate check into this as well. So you have the check package or the simple schema. So that would be huge to have that. We would have to probably make quite a big comparisons to see if it's what would be faster, either keeping the Express.js, or if adding Hono with all these new functionalities would work. And the question then is, if we can maybe remove some of it, but having the methods, still like dev subscription, of course, will have to stay, or publish and subscribe, because that's real life data. And so that would have to stay there. This really makes me. Another one would be, of course, all these middlewares. A lot of these, like CSRF, course, compress cache, would be, or secure headers would be either in the core web app package where it would be implemented, or it would be added to existing packages, so that you can benefit from all of those things. So it would make it easier to automatically just add a package. It will automatically add the defaults. You would then import it from the settings you would like through the package. So that would not change. If anything, there could be major improvements in that. Yeah, let's see. The logger would be tied to the existing Meteor logger. JSON Web Tokens, bearer and basic authentication. Well, basic authentication is if you just like super basic. So I think we could pretty much just export all the basic basic authentication through the Meteor package that would be implementing Hono, because this is part of the Hono core. Bearer authentication as well. This could potentially also be integrated into into the accounts package. So if you have that, and if you have like a login user, so it would then use this to kind of show if you are like, if you would be then doing the CSRF calls, then it would add in this stuff. So it would then add in the user ID that you could get in the CSRF calls, like today you can get in the methods. So it would be a lot of work, all of this stuff. It would add quite interesting new capabilities to Meteor. Though you could argue, well, like with the API stuff and a lot of similar stuff, that's already what possible with Express, and no contests there. But I kind of feel that with Hono, there's a lot more stuff built in. Question then is, of course, then the building, the Zot Open API. Let's see, what's that? Open API, Open API, extension class support. Supports Open API, which it can write types Zot, Open API, Swagger documentation. Okay, so that would be another thing potentially that could be added. So, Quick City TRCP server. What's TRCP here? This middleware adapts TRCP server as middleware for Hono. Okay, so let's type. Let's type for Zots. Okay, it's just one more things that you could add there. I'm kind of not sure really what to make out of this, because it started 2022, maybe, so last year, 2 years now. Yusuke Wada, and so it's relatively young. To that, it has a lot of functionality. It's quite impressive. Kind of want to check here these pull requests and node server pull request. Support upgrading requests from the adapter. Support absolute root path for server static. So let's see any issues. Proxy is not working. Server static isn't working. The classical nothing is working, but it is if you use it somewhere else. So more on that. Readable stream issue, node server, GraphQL yoga. So this is just requests to more improve the connection there. Let's see on Hono itself what we have here for future stuff. Types, body parser helper. Adding body parser parse helper, just like the one we have on QS, so we could have some sort of body parser and code extend through in Hono. A package, because you can use the QS instead. So it's okay. It just tells there, move yarn to PM. Add method that returns the request for a given route. Next, without weight. Okay, that's would be nice. Support generics queries header. Use biome as formatter and linter. What's biome? Let's check that out. That's another interesting thing. Okay. There's a default path to all for app.use version 4. Middleware CSRF, protection middleware, JSX improves event handler for intrinsic elements, modified manifest option to be required. That looks interesting. Improves file pattern router. INTN middleware. Ooh, that is interesting very much for me. Introducing new SSG adapter helper. What's that? Support class components. Interesting. Enable to write JSX to streaming API. Introduce JSX DOM. Let's take a look at JS docs. Streamer SSC doesn't trigger on a board correctly. Allow composing cache control directives. Interesting. On support multiple paths. Let's break this down. What if I miss option? Is this for okay, it's not what I was thinking. SSG adapter. Celebrate release of 4. I propose new feature. This is not niche, but it's helper designed to convert Hono code into static HTML. Utilizing this, you just can easily hot SSG on platforms like S3 or R2. Currently, I'm grappling with 3 main concepts. Wow, so that's mostly for AWS stuff. Introduce JSX/DOM. Let's not describe what it is, and that would take too long. So, but they still have stuff. Fine. So, what's biome? One tool chain for your web project. Format, length, and more in a fraction of a second. Nice. Format code like Meteor, saves time. Biome is fast forwarder. 97% goes a little bit prettier, saving CI and development time. Biome can even format malform code as you write in your favorite editor. And it's more performant. I think that's something I will give a try as well, given how ESLint and all that stuff is changing. But that's for another episode. So that was Hono. I am even more impressed than when I already started. I'm seriously considering using this for our Litter Universe API. And maybe for a couple of other projects. Pretty much something that performance number 1, so API servers would be amazing with this. Might be a good start for me to good start for me to get outside of the Meteor ecosystem in general. Let's just one more thing, getting started. Right, code a local server and develop the same code will run on any runtime, just with different entry points. Let's look at that. Well, I think if I use Next.js, I might probably get into the SSR and all that stuff there. And then I could also probably use bun if I so choose to, or very quickly switch to Node.js. So it's just a matter of like, in bun, if you remember, there was in the initialization process that you do the export default app at the end, and in Node.js, you just do serve. And that's it. On a Node server. Oh, interesting. So in bun, you don't need, you don't even need an adapter for bun. That's pretty good. Let's see, Dino. Okay, you have the serve similar to Node.js. So yeah, but Dino is just too different, I think, for me right now to work on. Bun in this case is closer to Node and stuff that I'm used to. Plus, it's also exciting, I think, to try bun as well. And if the only difference is that using adapter or using it as is, then that might be a nice case study to compare those two. And it is not really that much of a vendor lock-in. Yeah, I have a lot of to think about. I think Hono is definitely something to really consider going forward with Meteor as well. Especially because it could address some of the problems that or complaints that people have. But well, it's a lot of things to. It won't be an easy thing as compared to Express, which wasn't also as easy. You really need to go deep into Meteor. So this could potentially like really be, because we have also been talking a lot about just going from the ground up rewrite of Meteor, where we first focus on kind of getting the new cool stuff in, do the rewrite, have everything in TypeScript, all that stuff, do the necessary things. So I will definitely continue this discussion on the Meteor forums, and yeah, it would really depend, given how much Hono has inside it, if this is also like a direction we want to go with Meteor, because Meteor is primarily like for real-time projects. So the speed aspect of Hono would be absolutely amazing there, but it also allow for fast APIs with REST. So that could, because in all real-time projects, or majority of real-time projects, you have pretty much part that's real-time, and then the rest is, it doesn't really matter that much to be real-time on the data. So that's that for Hono there. Yeah. So that would be a nice mix. Yeah, it pains me just thinking how much work it would be, but on the other hand, if this is if it would be nice to integrate it into Meteor or replace Express in Meteor. Giving all the options here. Node.js HTTP to server. Just it would open many new possibilities, and definitely at the very least worth a talk. So with that, unless you guys have any comments, ideas, something to discuss, or unless somebody joins me, this is how I'm or where I'm going to end this. It has been a very interesting exploration, interesting test, especially since I did on Friday Express. So, and yeah, I will open up a discussion on the Meteor forums more about this, and so that we can see what other people think and how we can move with this forward. Thank you very much for your attention. And yeah, on Friday at 3:30 p.m. Central European Standard Time or Central European Time, I am on the Meteor community channel at another episode of Meteor Dispatches. So that's a weekly news from Meteor. We'll probably talk a little bit about this episode as well, and all the other news as Meteor 3 is coming up. So thank you very much once again for listening, and I will see you on Friday, or if not, then on Monday, if I remember my schedule correctly. I will be talking about The Great House, part 2 of maybe 3 or 4. Just see how things go. So that will be non-technical, more of a philosophy aspect. And then we are back to Meteor, and I will be coding. So that's 2 weeks from now. We'll be starting coding community packages website. So meteorjs.community. Right now, nothing is there. So we want to fix that. We want to start with Meteor 3. So, and that's what we'll be doing. And that's it for the regular scheduling, at least for now. But stay tuned also for potential special episodes as well, which I'll probably have a better idea of after today. All right. Cheers and see you next time.